You're listening to nothing important. Please enjoy the show. That's great. That works.
Fever, joint pain, lethargy, just feeling like crap, and then you feel like ultra mega crap after like a day or two.
Huh. Maybe that's what I have then, man. I seriously felt like I went through like a wrestling tournament last night. Like I'm seriously like all my joints hurts, and I've just had this like pounding headache all day, and I've had like this cough, and it hurts to speak. I just like completely assed out.
Why are you doing that to yourself?
Well, but then I asked myself, what would Andrew WK do?
Yeah,
Smash yourself in the face with a brick.
You're goddamn right.
and party, and then party.
And
well,
then
of course,
party
and then
hard.
you have to party. So this is how dedicated to the cause I am. So even though I feel like ass since I'm the boss, I can't really call in sick to work. I mean, I guess I could, but nothing would get done, and it's just not in me, right? Like if I can physically walk, I'm going to work. So anyway, I go to work, and I have to pick up my daughters from daycare, which is in the suburbs where I live, but I have to pick them up by 6:30. So in order to record with Andrew WK, I am now sitting in the parking lot of an abandoned strip mall with my computer on the passenger side of my Jeep and my microphone
Awesome.
all hooked up across
Nice.
the street from the daycare. So I'm just waiting for either a vagrant or a police officer to come by and ask me what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, quit masturbating, and it'll probably get out of it easier.
Never. Never.
Masturbating. What's that?
I'm also kind of stoked because I decided to go buy a new computer last night. And it's one of those cool ones where you can flip it over and then it becomes a tablet with a pencil and you could draw on it.
Is it a Surface?
Ooh, a Surface?
No, it's not a Surface. It just has some sort of weird hinge on it. So it's not like a tablet. It's a full-fledged computer. It just has a flippy hinge.
Like a
flippy
Surface.
hinge on it.
One of them, their fancy new HPs?
It's a Lenovo Flex.
Ooh,
5.
okay, fair enough.
I think I
Yeah.
play frisbee
They also
golf with
do that.
Lenovo's.
But I'm pretty excited to use it for editing A Plumbus Among Us, because before, with my last computer, I would hit the delete. I would highlight what I wanted deleted, right, or time
Yeah.
to cut down, and I would hit delete, and it would be like 20 to 30 seconds each time
That's too long.
to like delete
way too
files.
long.
Yeah. Well, that computer is like 6 years old, so I'm excited that I got a new computer, and plus.
Mine is 7, just to one up you. Mine is 7, and it works perfectly fine. Just saying.
No, okay.
Just to one
You
up
gotta,
you,
you gotta
I have a
watch
Mac Mini.
that. Watch out how much incest porn you're downloading and such.
Well, that's the most traceable
That's one-
kind of porn.
Internet porn?
Incest porn.
Oh, well, just for my friends. I just wanted to be more accepted for my friends.
Right. Dave doesn't understand that.
Right.
I understand.
Oh,
friends.
shit. Hold on. I think that's Andrew WK. Hold on a sec.
I have friends. Don't I?
It's a reference from Rick and Morty, Dave.
I don't care. I
So
don't
what
care.
kind of animal genitalia do you want to start talking about now?
Rhinoceros lungs.
Yeah.
I just did a rap session. My brain's fried. I'm not really ready to do this right now. Although I
Well,
like
you
those
should
guys.
you should have been listening to Party Hard to get in the mood.
I did, to show them what I was about to do
Oh, nice.
and who I was about to talk to and who I was excited about talking to. No.
My main question is, like, what, as much as he wants to party, what are unacceptable forms of partying to him?
Well, you
know what?
ask him that question
That's-
when he's on the air.
And actually, we can ask him right now because Dave and Jeff, Andrew WK is on the Someone Important hotline.
Hey,
Andrew WK,
welcome.
thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Well, we're excited to have you on, and I guess we could start with that. Jeff, what was the question you wanted to pose to Andrew as we jumped in?
As much as we know that you are the party god, as far as your music goes and the things that you espouse. What forms of partying are unacceptable to you?
Well, it really gets down to this very basic morality. I think the general ethics of society and civilization are always important to follow.
Sure.
They can be questioned, and they can be examined, and they can be doubted, and they can be at times dismantled and then rebuilt. But I think we would all tend to agree that for most of us, murdering someone would not count as partying.
No.
That'd be a really kind of lame party. So cool.
For better or worse, that would consider murder a form of partying, and that is where it does become tricky. It's not as easy as to say what is and isn't partying. It's really a rigorous application of thought and excitement and enthusiasm about life, and you build the party for yourself to the best of your abilities. But I think a basic grasp of, for example, even the 10 Commandments give you a good starting point for what is and what isn't partying.
So within the bounds of general social morality, any form of partying that doesn't hurt somebody else is acceptable.
I think so. I mean, I'm not telling anyone how to live, and I wouldn't want anyone to tell me how to live, but I also appreciate the general guidelines that the human race has come up with to make existence as manageable as possible. Never perfect. There's always room to go and grow, and it always can be made much better. But so far, the system has held up pretty good for the most part for a lot of folks. It's failed other people as well, and that should be taken into account. It's a work in progress. That's what partying is, really.
So, Andrew, my question is, why such a long break between albums? You have a new album coming out March 2nd of 2018. Why such a long break between your last album and this one coming out early next year?
I don't know.
All right.
Sounds like a personal question.
When you're partying very hard, time can fly by. As they say, time flies when you're partying hard. And it wasn't a deliberate break or anything like that. In fact, I think I was so busy. That's why it was easy to not do another album, because there was so much other adventures going on, and I'm thankful for that. I'm also at the same time not happy that this much time has gone by, but I can't really complain because the things I've gotten to do, I never would have even dreamed or dared to plan or even want to do. I accepted this party path many years ago, and part of that acceptance was turning over my will to some extent to the party gods and following what they want me to do, whether I really understand it or even enjoy it or not. And it's not really about what I want; it's about what the party wants, and I do what I can to live up to that.
So in the meantime, between albums, you've hosted game shows and you've done motivational speaking. And also earlier yesterday, I watched this awesome tale that you told of auditioning for a musician position on Comedy Central. What of those endeavors that you've done since your last album, what has been your favorite?
None of them in particular. The whole thing is one big experience. When I try to dissect or divide my life or just the world in general into too many compartmentalized pieces, it starts to feel very stressful, very overwhelming, very unparty. So the whole thing is just one swirling mass of confusion and delight. And that's my favorite thing. Not being dead is my favorite thing.
That's a great answer.
Throughout, we've been listening to you since what, Brian, 2001?
Oh my God, yeah. Of course, our friend Curtis Ropake, who lived in a house with us, and one of my favorite memories of Andrew WK is every time we would turn on Madden 2000, I believe it was, Andrew WK's song was always the first to come up on the title screen.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate to be included in that game, and a lot of the folks that I still will see coming to a concert or will meet in the midst of partying will say that was their first encounter with our music or this party offering in general. And it means a lot to me that those kind of opportunities come up. You'll never know how many people you can reach through something like a video game or any other.
Sorry, Andrew, that was kind of awkward. I'm actually in I'm actually in the parking lot of an abandoned strip mall recording in my Jeep with you right now. So I apologize if any ambulances or vagrants stop by my Jeep to say hello.
No need to apologize. It's fine.
So, what Brian and I heard a lot was our buddy Curtis would play your music all the time before it was like Friday night, getting ready and to get himself pumped up to go out for the night and do that. And the one thing that always astonished me was, and him too, and why we asked him, like, you know, what's up, man? What's up with the whole album all the time? Was like, why is it so positive? I mean, not why is it so positive, but I mean, you've got this sensibility about your music that just is greatly positive and forward thinking the whole time. Where does that come from?
I guess from me not feeling that way, not feeling positive. My natural state was one of negativity and anger and frustration and fear. And as I said, confusion, just so much doubt and a sense of apprehension about life in general. Real looking at each day with dread. So I wanted to, I guess, feel better, feel a different way, I wanted to feel like I dreamt the greatest person in the world would feel, just really empowered and excited and energized and strong and confident, and that there was some truth somewhere out there that if I could feel it would tell me that it really was good to be alive and everything really was going to be okay somehow or another, and that the truth of existence was inherently positive, a kind of almost transcendent positivity that went beyond good or bad or happy or sad or even positive and negative. Just an explosive life force core truth. And that's what partying is about for me, is trying to manifest that feeling, trying to conjure up that feeling, trying to make that feeling happen in whatever way I can, through music or through talking to you right now on the show. I mean, that's the life goal, is to try to feel that incredible optimism about the chance we have to be alive.
Wow.
That's
quite
like
the motivational speaker, sir.
Absolutely. That's such a great answer. What, if you don't mind me asking, what was going on in your life at the time that you kind of felt like you felt dark and you felt like you needed to push yourself through to be positive and optimistic? Were you going through like drug struggles or problems at home or employment issues? What was keeping you back? Do you think that you had to like push through your music?
Everything and nothing in particular. I mean, I just felt bad for as long as I could remember. I don't really remember a time where anything felt particularly worse or better. It was just the way it felt to be alive. It felt very intense and scary. And just figured, you're supposed to focus on projects that made you feel better about life. And ever since I first heard music and got to play piano and stuff, around, those are first early memories of life, around 3-4 years old, you start to think, okay, there are things in life that feel good, and music is one of them. So I'll just stay close to this. But there was never really a defining moment or a turning point. It's just been a continuous effort to try to get cheered up and stay cheered up.
Do you hear similar stories from folks that come to your concerts, or perhaps fans that write you? Like maybe they were kind of in a not necessarily the brightest point in their life, and they hear your music and the loud, unabashed optimism of it, and you've kind of brought them to the other side?
I don't know. I mean, I think just about anybody who makes music and puts it out there to the world has people tell them that they found it in that kind of moment. So I think that's a pretty universal experience. In fact, even what we might call very angry music or negative sounding music usually has that same positive, uplifting effect for that kind of person who's looking for that certain thing. So you hope that there's someone out there who doesn't necessarily need it, but is looking for this certain feeling about life. just like maybe I am. It's not to solve a problem per se or to overcome a particular challenge. It's a larger quest than that, and it's less specific, where you're looking to find in someone else or something outside of yourself confirmation that the feeling in you or the desire in you is not alien, that it's a shared human experience, and to connect with someone else, or even just to connect with that feeling itself. But yeah, if someone uses it because they were going through a rough patch or finds it, that's fantastic too. That's ultimately what you hope that the arts, the living arts culture and whatnot can do for people. But
Sure.
it also doesn't have to be as utilitarian as that. It can be an ongoing quest that can last your whole life.
My mind is blown. I love the perspective. This is awesome. Like, I'm so glad that you took your time to talk to us, because I feel like going out and partying hard now. Like, I'm seriously have a better like feeling about things, because to take, I guess one thing I'm curious about is like, why did you pick this genre? Is this your favorite genre of music, or do you just think it kind of fit the feeling that you were searching for?
Yeah, because I know that you're well versed in multiple instruments, and multiple classical interpretations of music. So yeah, piggybacking off Dave, yeah, why rock?
Well, in all fairness, I'm really not that good at any other instruments. I'm competent on piano, but I've met many people that are truly gifted on a truly wide range of instruments, that could play flute and play violin and play accordion and everything else. So it should not be misunderstood. It's not like I have some kind of virtuoso skill. And as far as this style of music, would I close my eyes and try to imagine what would the most amazing music in the world sound like? This is what it sounded like in my head. That every instrument, every means of recording that would result in this overwhelmingly intense, powerful feeling, I had to use. So, rock music instrumentation is generally about this intensity, this using everything that you have access to deliver the most intense sound you possibly can. And I use everything I can. I mean, every little sound that I can add to the recording, I will add. It's a maximalist approach.
Awesome. Well, Andrew WK, it's been absolutely awesome talking to you. It's been very insightful, and I'm so glad that you came on. I want to remind everybody that you are on tour right now. The Party Never Stops tour. You're going all over the country. Are you working out your new songs?
Well, yes, there's a new album coming out on March 2nd, 2018, and we're playing one of the new songs from the album on this tour. I generally don't like to play songs that people don't know, that they don't have the ability to hear. So I never really liked that as a concert goer myself as well. I like when a band or a performer will play songs that I have the ability to hear and learn and be familiar with. To me, that's what I love about the live music experience for the most part, is rejoicing and reveling in our shared love of a song, of a piece of music. So, but with that being said, we are playing one brand new song that no one's ever heard before, and we'll be on the new album, and hopefully people like it.
Awesome. Well, make sure to go to andrewwk.com for tour dates. Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for coming on the Nothing Important podcast. I see that you're coming to Chicago October 21st. You're playing at the Vic. Great venue. And who knows, maybe we'll be there and maybe we'll run into each other.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for all that you do to get the party power out there. It means a lot to me, and it means even more to the spirit of partying itself.
All right. Awesome.
This is the most positive interview we've ever had. I'm taken aback. Thank you, Andrew.
No, thank you. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your energy, and thanks for your support. Just keep it going.
It's our pleasure.
Awesome. Let's keep it going.
I think we're kindred spirits in this regard, honestly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrew WK, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you,
sir.
Forever.
Who just hung up?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be honest. He hung up. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really sure how that interview was going to go. I just remember.
Did you hear the 3 beeps
Jeff,
before you started talking about the guest?
Yes, he did, and I'm not saying anything negative. So
Okay.
I'm sure he'd like to jump in if he did. Okay, but I wasn't really sure how that interview was going to go, and my reasoning is because especially when his big hit, like Party Hard came out, right? It's like this raucous, really loud song, and there's this guy with this like wet, greasy, long ass black hair and a stained white T-shirt and acid washed white jeans and white Chuck Taylor. And like all you see him is just like raw, like just like crazy raucous and partying, right? So
Yeah.
when I got the opportunity to set up an interview with him, I sit here, I never write down questions because I feel it's better for us to be all organic. But him, I was like, man, how is this going to go? Because what if he is just as intense on the phone as he is in his music? Like, that's going to be kind of a challenge to match the intensity, especially while I'm sitting here recording in my Jeep. But as we were talking to him, I get the feeling like he has this like really well thought out and has a very great idea of what his life's philosophy is. He calls it like the party spirit or whatever. But it's funny because in my head, I'm sitting there thinking like watching the videos of him just like rocking out, going crazy and headbanging. But then as I'm hearing him talk and intelligently answer our discussions and be kind of frank and honest about his past experiences and why he does what he does, I imagine him, of course, still in a white T-shirt and acid wash jeans, of course.
Of course.
But of course. Like, just like kicking back in like a big high top chair with like a pipe.
Yeah.
and espousing his answers to the question.
Yeah, and I've seen him like philosophize or be. I've seen bits of his motivational speeches before, but man, like I don't want to say I didn't expect it, but just the way that he communicates that. He communicates that whole feeling, and really believes it. Is honestly inspiring. I feel a little bit different, even though we only talked to him for like 15 minutes. I feel a little bit different.
I think
right
that's
now.
a truly inspirational philosophy. I like a lot of people because they make angry music because they feel bad, and they're
Right.
It's a cathartic experience, and they want to exercise the demons. But some people make the music that they hear in their head, and I think that's kind of what we did when we played. We wanted to have fun and have a party, so we kept it lighthearted, we kept it fun, and it's nice to hear somebody that can articulate these things better than we ever could articulate them to us.
That's what I guess took me aback the most was, he was talking about not being very happy and not seeing that much greatness in life, and then his response to it was, well, fuck it. Now I'm just going to make music that makes me happy. Like that's I guess I don't even know if it's the right word, but it's profound and it's refreshing because Dave, as you said, sometimes people are heartbroken and sad and they make heartbroken as sad music, and he's I got the impression I tried to, talk about it a little bit, but maybe not in the best spot of his life or maybe just not where he wants to be in life. And his answer was, well, no, I'm just going to be loud and have fun and push through it. I think that's a pretty positive message. I think that's a great way to go about it.
That can be a self-fulfilling prophecy if you just kind of relentlessly pursue happiness.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Facebook memes tell me this all the time, that you can choose happiness if you relentlessly pursue it. But yeah, and it's cool because it truly I guess it's a little more universal than I thought, and a little more inspirational than I thought. It's not as much of a joke as we were, but there's kind of like a wink behind it, but it's still serious.
Yeah. Well, but you could tell when he says, he plays what he wants to hear, what he hears in his head, and that positivity comes out in just like the chord progressions and what the notes he chooses to play, because it's all. I mean, you don't hear minors.
I was just gonna say, I doubt there's a minor scale in the whole album. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all positive. It's all high octave too. I mean, it's not your standard C.
It's less. It's got the industrial vibe to it that gives you the real edge. Yeah.
Yeah. The tonality of it, I guess, as I say, is just
Which
I don't know. I don't know.
wanted to-
And I could say as much as I liked it or disliked it that our buddy played it so loudly when we lived there. I can't help but say that realistically, it did kind of get me moving and motivated. No matter what kind of debauchery we were going to do that
I
night,
sort
or
of
what,
have
what
a-
terrible thing we were going to do.
I have a Pavlovian response to that song.
Is it the party?
No, it's that I want to punch the guy behind the door in the face because I'm so annoyed. But no, just it just takes me back to that time because I was there. I was staying in the house in a period where it was
Yeah.
being played every morning, so I witnessed it. And now whenever I hear it, it's just like that. I just think about Curtis getting amped up to start his day because he'd do it first thing in the morning too.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly what Andrew WK was going for.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly. So I'd like to thank Andrew WK. Make sure to check him out at andrewwk.com. Check out his tour, The Party Never Stops. And, of course, his album that drops in March of 2018. Make sure to check out Jeff and I on A Plumbist Among Us, the Rickest Rick and Morty podcast. Doing okay for us, Jeff. Not doing too bad. Hitting the iTunes charts every week. And we're not staying there, but we're hitting it. So we're doing okay, and we're building more and more every day.
For a
you can
first
check-
year, we'll take what we can get.
Yep, exactly. You can also check out all three of us, particularly Dave and I, on It's All Good Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. You can find that at itsallgoodman.com, on the TV Time app, or on iTunes and Google Play. Please make sure to give us a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and make sure that you share this podcast. And Dave,
Yeah.
you have an additional podcast as
You
well.
can check me out on What's Going Down in downtown J-Town. We just completed an interview with Green Jello, actually. It's a local
What?
podcast, but it's a national... Okay, it's a local podcast, but we got Green Jello because he is a traveling musician that hires a local band at every stop that he goes to.
Wow.
So my
really?
co-host went to high school with the local outfit for Green Jello. So, yeah, we had them on. He has like 700 musicians on the roster. When he goes to a town, he calls 4 of them and says, hey, we're playing a show.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Didn't they have to change their name? Because Jello was a copyrighted name.
Yes, it's spelled
So
jelly.
they're green jelly.
It's spelled jelly,
Yeah.
but pronounced jello. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Copyright speech.
Awesome. So make sure to check that out. And Dave, you can stop recording now.
You're listening to Nothing Important.
So, man, long time, no chat, and we are now approaching week 4 of the football season.
That's right. I
And,
felt this would be the most appropriate of times to start discussing fantasy football.
Absolutely, because what better time? Well, better late than never, I guess to say.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. With all the controversy surrounding the NFL these days, I think it'd be nice to have just a nice lighthearted discussion.
Sure.
So how you doing?
You want to talk about that?
How's your how you feeling about your season? How many leagues are you in, first of all?
I have 2. I have one with work friends, which turns out also to be with a couple fraternity friends. We just end up knowing the same people.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
then I'm in one at my other job because I work 2 jobs.
Mhm.
And that one, up until this week, I was in first place by a crazy large margin.
Large Marge. I also
Marge.
had the Large Marge going on. I'm in 5 leagues.
Shit.
I'm a popular fella. One of them goes back. This is our 12th season, I think.
Oh, nice.
Let's see. 3 are amongst groups of friends. One is the Chicago Street Pub League, which
Okay.
is located right below my studio, so I'm there all the time. So I joined their league. And one of them is an auction. We decided, our oldest league, the 12-year league, we decided to do a 16-team auction draft.
16 is a lot of fucking teams.
I'm 0-3.
Yeah. So I could tell the difference. So let's call one the hospital and one work.
Mm.
So the hospital league is only 12. There's 12 people,
Okay.
and that's the one that I was doing awesome in until this last week.
Mm.
The work league, I am 0-3, like completely, just disgustingly 0-3. And that one has 14 people.
Ooh.
And I noticed, and I joined. That's a league that they've had for years. That I took over someone's spot in it.
Okay.
And come draft day, they're like, "Oh yeah, here we go. It's draft this time." I mismanaged. I thought we were all meeting at like our office that we have as a communal space. Instead, we were meeting at the guy's house. So I had to post up at the office real quick. And I also left my phone on the counter at the gas station before I got there.
Oh, no.
So I was like 20 minutes late to drafting. So I was already in the 4th round and let Yahoo. The guy got auto picks.
Oh, and Yahoo.
But I guess it was also a legacy league. So I didn't even know who the hell I had to like choose from previously. Like from last year that I probably squanch on a bunch of shit.
A keeper league, as they say.
Yeah, keeper league. That's what.
How many keepers do you get to keep?
I have no fucking idea because I wasn't part of it.
I'm in one keeper league. That is my best league. It's a 12-team league, and the way our keepers work is if you draft a keeper, he moves up around the next year. If you pick him up off of waiver wires, he becomes your 5th round pick. So I 2 years ago drafted Devontae Freeman in the 8th round. So yeah, I had Devontae Freeman as my 6th round pick. Also, I'm smart enough to realize that when NFL players are about to get suspended, it usually doesn't take place till the next season. So I got Ezekiel Elliott in the 2nd round.
Okay.
And everybody thought I was stupid, and I was like, watch, he's going to play at least the first 4 games. And he is. Then next year, I might dump him next year, but so I'm kind of whooping ass in that league. I'm 3-0. I'm in first place in 3 of my 5 leagues.
Well, you've got that professionalness behind you.
I love football.
Yeah, I don't care that much about it. I think it's a fun way to stay interacting with people.
It is.
Is how I see it, and I don't actively watch football or try to pay attention. But what I enjoy playing fantasy against people and being able to talk shit and see what happens.
And proving that you're smarter than somebody else. That's the most important thing to me.
Exactly.
It's a competition to see who's better.
Well, and since I don't, on that same note, since I don't pay attention at all to stuff, I do it Moneyball style. So like the week before drafting, I will take the top 200 of like 5 different places. So like Yahoo and CBS and NFL and whatever. And then I will combine together their points and then average it out to make like my top 200 from those, which ends up being like 250 or 300. Right. Especially when you get down to the bottom. And then parse it out by position. So that way I have my own list to go along with through the draft, because I don't know dick about shit. So the only way I can think to do it is mathematically.
Well, that's a good idea to take a bunch of different lists and then make like an what do you call it? An amalgamation.
Sure.
What's the word I'm looking for? But yeah.
An aggregated list?
Yeah, it's basically you're aggregating several lists, because most people, like I have 4 leagues in 4 leagues are on ESPN, 1 league's on Yahoo. And the rankings are different, and you know there's going to be a couple guys that are going to go just off the ESPN rankings. Right. And a lot of the ESPN rankings are going to be wrong, and a lot of Yahoo rankings are going to be wrong. So it's cool to take them. I don't do that. I don't go that far into it. I read a lot. I put it all in my brain, so I guess I kind of do it in my own head. And my downfall or success is purely based on whether or not I believe in certain people, I guess.
Sure.
All of my benches look the same. Like I have J.J. Nelson, Sammy Watkins, Rob Kelly, Terrence West on like every bench across the board. Like I fixate on certain players.
Those names mean nothing to me.
Right. But I fixate on certain players, but my starters will look kind of different because I draft not strategy lists, but it's like poker to me. Like if the table's loose, you play tight, you go oppo, and if the table's tight, you play loose. So I figure, if the draft's going this way, I'll go kind of a different direction.
Yeah,
and usually it means I'm getting, I don't get a quarterback till the end. If everybody's going wide receiver, I'll grab some running backs. Well,
that's where your points are, though. I mean, you got to figure that out.
Well, then I also do use a tiered system.
Okay.
I'll rank. Oh, these guys are all close enough to rank in one group. And then these guys are close enough to rank you one group. So if this group's gone, then I'll be like, I'll go to running backs now. Those running backs gone, I'll go back to wide receivers, kind of a deal.
Sure.
But it also, the scoring changes too, because I'm in some crazy scoring leagues. I put up 200 points in week 1.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because it's like PPR and a half point per carry and bonuses for this and bonuses for that and stuff.
Yeah, none of my stuff's that complicated.
My worst
Just
league is my 10
straight up traditional for the most part.
Yeah, my 10 team standard league, which is like the baseline of everything. I suck. Terrible.
Okay.
I'm terrible at standard scoring in a 10 team league. But you give me a 12 team PPR league, I'm generally in the playoffs.
That also those things that you said mean really nothing to me.
PPR is point per reception.
Okay. Well, that also, like I said, I have no idea. That sounds like a different strategy
It is.
for drafting.
It is.
I just do this to have fun with friends and kind of don't. I care about it. Here's my dichotomy with it is like I don't want to care about it, but I force myself to have to care about it, and then I force myself to care about it so much that starting Thursday until Monday at like 11 o'clock, I am filled with nothing but anxiety and have to keep checking, like habitually checking it and habitually doing this and that. And it almost pisses me off, the fact that I care when I really don't want to care at all.
Well, one thing I found, because I tell people, I'm in 5 fantasy football leagues, and they'll be like, oh, you're fucking crazy. How do you do that many leagues? And it's like, well, it does take a little bit more time. But like I said, most of my benches are kind of identical. So,
Yeah.
And that's kind of by design. That way I don't have to, I already know that if I make this move on this team, I'm already going to go and make the move. And it doesn't really take that long to go, move this guy to here, next page, move this guy to here, like whatever. I know enough about football to where I don't have to do all this research to keep up with it. But also,
Sure.
when you have 5 teams going, when I had one fantasy team, I would obsess over 8 players every week.
Yeah.
With 5 teams, I have so many players, and I'm going against guys that I also have. It just becomes this thing where it's like, well, fuck it. I don't really have to pay that close attention because I can't keep up with it anyway. So then I get more. Then when I go to check my fantasy scores, I end up on the actual NFL scoreboard. And I'm looking, holy shit, the Chargers are beating the fucking Broncos. What's going on here? And I'll end up getting into the actual games again. Whereas when I had one team, I was more focused on the individual players.
Well, that seems more like how I would assume the NFL would probably want it.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you're actually going to watch the games or attend a game.
Well, the NFL loves
to pay attention.
Yeah, they love the fact that people watch the games that they don't, for teams they don't root for, but they have a fantasy interest.
I think, well, yeah, I could see where that would be also profitable for them, or at least maintenance for them. But then you get people, I would assume, like myself, who honestly don't give a shit. And I have no interest in necessarily watching a game on Sunday, Thursday, or Monday. And really no desire to actually go to a football game due to all the downtime. I've been to enough college games to know that it's, unless I'm there with like people I really want to hang out with, that I could give a shit less. Which is weird because I'll go to a baseball game all day.
That is weird
And
if you
that's
go to
way
a
more-
baseball game all day, because I love the space in a baseball game.
Maybe that's it. Maybe there's enough space in there where it's just too. I can't get focused on having downtime or not having downtime. The other way. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. I actually, to get off topic real quick, I know a recent acquaintance of mine is a very, very large German fella.
Sure.
Who is recently
Is
just
his name? Does he have a German name?
Martin.
No, that's not German.
Not particularly
Okay.
German.
No.
His German accent is very German. And don't make him laugh too hard because he will slap your heart out of your chest. He's a massive, massive man. But he was all excited. We were actually hanging out at Irish Fest, ironically.
Yeah.
And he just discovered baseball. And he's like, all these people, picture me in a German accent. All these people, they talk about baseball. It's so boring. He's like, I get it. He's like, I love it. This is amazing. It's like, you take a minute, and then it's like, this guy's trying to throw this little ball past somebody. It's like this big, like, one-on-one challenge, but then there's all this space where you can sit and digest it. And you can talk to people around you. And he's like, it's not supposed to be a fast game. And I was like, you're not American then, because we like our high-scoring, fast-action games. That's why. But thank you. Like, somebody fucking gets it. because I love it.
Maybe it's because I'm also very German in heritage. Maybe that's why I like it a lot better.
Maybe Germany needs some baseball.
To go watch one. And that would be a very weird. Das would be weird for them.
Well, their footy team is pretty good, right?
Oh well, the German football team is fantastic.
Yeah.
And every World Cup that comes around, I might be from America, but I always root Germany. Always have, always will. And I was a ball boy at the 1994 World Cup at Soldier Field during the Germany versus Spain game. They ended up in a tie, but I was the only ball boy to get to, like, a ball came over the fence line that actually got to touch the ball and then hand it back to a player who was a German player.
Nice. So you have a special affinity for German soccer.
Yeah, that, and I get drunk a lot, unfortunately.
I do like the fact that when I watch my football games illegally, I always have to make sure I click the American football link and not the football link.
Well, I mean, we're the weird country when it comes to that.
Whatever, it's our game.
Just like the metric system and anything else.
That's right.
We're the weird country.
We don't play on meters. We play on yards.
Yeah.
But I think back to fantasy football. We should get back to this later in the season because I'm really going to try it. If I have a team that 7 wins will usually get you in the playoffs, right?
Sure.
I have 2 teams that are 3-0. So I figure if I get to 7, 8 wins, I'm really going to try and make trades to set my team up for the playoffs. Like, say, this wide receiver's got an easy looking schedule to where he'll get a lot of points when the fantasy weeks 13 through 16. I'm going to try and acquire players that are going to be against bad defenses during the fantasy playoffs.
That makes sense.
I think about it.
Sounds like a sound strategy that I don't know if I'm willing to look into.
I think about it every year, and I never have the time, the balls, or the record to do it. Usually, the one championship I've won, I was 7-6 at the end of the season, which is why I don't give a shit about winning every game. I had one season, I had 3 first-round buys in my leagues. One of them I lost 1 game. And then the second week of the playoffs, every team lost. And then the next week, I took 2/3 and a 4th.
All right.
So it really is, you just have to get there.
The only strategy I would have is see who plays the Dolphins and the Browns.
It was the Jets. It's too early to tell, though. I mean, it's week 3.
Yeah, but I mean, the Browns are the Browns, so that's just like hereditary,
right?
And then as far as I know, and then the Dolphins are the Dolphins, and they have Jay Cutler, so I mean, it can't get good.
I was gonna say, well, the thing about that though is like, Jay doesn't throw a hell of a lot of pick sixes. He's really only good.
Asterisk. I don't know what that means.
It's when the interception return for a touchdown.
Okay.
So, because when you do that, your defense gets 6 more points.
Sure.
So, if you're playing a defense against Jay Cutler, you're honestly hoping for like 1 or 2 interceptions and 1 or 2 sacks. Like, he does turn the ball over, but not that much.
Well, I just meant because the offense probably plays like crap because Jay Cutler is their leader.
Actually, when Jay Cutler has good wide receivers, he's not the best fantasy quarterback, but he does make good fantasy wide receivers because he will throw the ball deep, and he will force passes. Hence the turnover.
Well, is that before or after he gets his 2 cigarettes and a shot of insulin?
This is, I think, in between the 2 cigarettes, post shot of insulin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when he had Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, they were both top 10 fantasy wide receivers, and he wasn't even a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Sure.
So he gets the receivers yards. So I do have Dolphins receivers on my teams.
Okay.
And I thought the Dolphins defense was actually good, but they just lost to the Jets, who have like nobody. Matt Forte at 50 years old.
Yeah.
But
who's got like 6 bad hips.
right. And then you have the inverse where like Alex Smith is a top fantasy quarterback, but he spreads the ball around. So not one receiver gets all the work. So the quarterback gets more points, but the receivers don't do so hot.
I don't know who Alex Smith plays for.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay. It just so happened, happenstance, based on drafting order and the Moneyball half-ass system I'm using, that Derek Carr is my quarterback for both the leagues.
That is
a
good quarterback.
Last week it is, but last week was totally shit the bed.
Yeah.
So I even took him out this week for my replacement quarterback.
Who is your replacement?
Which one league it's Andy Dalton. And I don't know. It just seems like it's a better matchup.
Yeah,
a little
matchups
bit.
matter. Matchups really do matter. And
And
they
and then the other league, it's I gotta find it. Mr. Bortles.
ooh, Teenage Mutant.
So I didn't
Teenage
switch him out.
Mutant Ninja
I didn't
Bortles?
switch. Yeah, I didn't switch him out. But I mean, that tells you how low on the draft scale I got, especially after missing the first 4 rounds.
Yeah. Wow.
Trying to pick up just stuff.
Well, Carr is solid. I mean, he was a top 10 in most leagues. But I have one league where Sam Bradford was like the number 7 quarterback because you get a point per completion, but a negative point for an incompletion.
Right.
So a higher percentage quarterback's going to get you more points than a guy who's like 10 of 40 for 200 yards. You know?
Yeah. As you're mentioning these people, I'm also doing searches on my phone for who they are, so I can at least know what team you're
Sam
talking about.
Bradford, he was the
Minnesota
Vikings quarterback who led the league in completion percentage last year.
Oh, that makes sense then.
Yes, but only in that league is he any good. That's the thing. You got to know your rules. Stuff like that. I can talk fantasy football all day.
I've noticed, and that's not a bad thing, especially if you have, I guess, someone who's more engaged than I am, or at least more knowledgeable. But I don't dislike talking about it because I like to learn stuff.
Right.
You know.
Well, I would say play your matchups. Always play your studs. That Dave's lesson of this week was always play your studs.
The Dave FF suggestion of the week: always play studs.
Always play your studs because I sat T.Y. Hilton because he wasn't doing so hot. 30 points on my bench. I sat Brandon Cooks because he wasn't doing so hot. 30 points on my bench.
I had Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. Who did I sit last week that just totally fucked me over? And it was because of the England game.
Who was in?
It was in the league where I actually have a decent chance.
That was
of winning.
Jacksonville versus Baltimore.
Yeah, and it was
Fournette.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
sat him, and it was 14 points versus the other running backs I had in, which were Ty Montgomery and Mike Lissley, who both did dick for shit as far as anything happened.
I think Gillisley got a touchdown, didn't he?
No, he only had 3 points the whole time.
Okay.
He had 3.1 points.
That's it. That's usually a safe bet. Is especially this is where the PPR versus standard scoring matters, because like someone like Mike Gillisley, like New England's power back, whoever it is, last year was LeGarrette Blount. Their power back is like always going to be like top of the league in touchdowns, but he ain't going to catch passes for shit. So you don't really want him in a PPR league as much as you want him in a standard scoring league because it's more of a percentage of points.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Last week I had the guy I played had Tom Brady. So I think what I get into is overthinking.
They can
because he had Tom Brady as his quarterback playing. So I played all of my like decent New England players that I have against him, thinking that if Tom Brady's obviously going to score 20, 30 points more than likely, that at least it would even out, that those people would match because they're going to be I had a running back and a wide receiver. I had Brandon Cooks and
James White.
What? And Mike
Gillisley.
Yeah. So I thought that would even out. That totally did not work out.
Sometimes it does. I like the opposite is better. Like if I'm playing somebody that has Julio Jones, I'll stick with New England. So if somebody has Brandon Cooks, I'm really comfortable playing Peyton Manning because if Cooks catches 3 touchdowns, not Peyton Manning, I just said Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Because if Cooks catches 3 touchdowns, Tom Brady threw all 3 touchdowns, right?
Right.
But the vice versa is like, okay, I have Brandon Cooks and you have Tom Brady. Well, if Tom Brady throws 3 touchdowns to Chris Hogan, I'm pissed. You know,
Right, because you're looking at thirds or fourths
Right.
of those points.
And now,
yeah.
and especially if like he throws 2 touchdowns early, and now I need to catch up, and he starts throwing to Brandon Cooks. So it's like, what's the fucking point? Because Tom Brady's getting those points too.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, I overthink it too much, and
that's
just kind of let it go, and that's due to my my noviceness.
the things you will learn. My general rules. Now that we're 4 weeks in, Dave's general.
Will learn if I choose. To
If you
learn.
choose to learn, I never roster a backup quarterback unless it's a super deep league. I've never played a 2 quarterback league.
Okay.
I never roster a backup.
What do you do then? Just waiver someone out?
Yeah.
When that bye week comes?
Yeah, I would rather have some shitty running back that I can just dump and pick up a quarterback later if I need to. One of my leagues has an IR spot, injured reserve. So if a guy's out for a week,
yeah. Yeah.
most don't though. But yeah, I would rather roster.
Both of mine do. So I do have that.
Okay.
But I just pretty much instantly drop that player
Yeah, depends.
and try to find someone else. Well, no. For me, the IR spots I've had. Who was it? Fucking last year. What's his face? He was the running back for the Vikings last year.
Hey,
and I was
Adrian
on a different
Peterson.
team. Yeah, Adrian Peterson, who played like one game
Yeah.
and then was IR the rest of the year. That totally fucked me over because I got a good pick and that's who I picked.
Right.
And then I got instantly
Oh,
boned.
David Johnson's out for the year. I mean, that was the consensus #1 overall pick in every league that I was in. That's another rule of Dave's. I don't go after what everybody thinks is going to be the #1 running back because it's never the same guy 2 years in a row. Yeah, I don't roster.
That makes sense.
I don't roster backup quarterbacks. I don't roster backup tight ends. And mostly it's because once you get past the top tier, everybody's so close, it doesn't really matter who you have. So there's no point in wasting a roster spot on him. You can just go pick a guy up off the bench, and he'll be just as good as the quarterbacks 15 through 30 are kind of all the same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why I don't draft a quarterback early in the draft. Like if I'm going to get somebody, it's going to be like Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and then pretty much the rest. Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
like super studs, yes. But then once you get past the super studs, they're kind of all just guys. Yeah.
They're going to be mediocre. They're all going to get their 15 points,
Right.
and then it's not going to matter.
Right. So I don't. That's what I do with quarterbacks and tight ends and defenses.
Well-
One defense, one kicker.
Yeah, one defense, one
Unless
kicker.
you
Yeah,
unless you have an insane defense like the 06 Bears had or the 2000 Ravens,
right.
who are far and away better, then I will wait till the bye week. I will keep the defense so I can keep them, so nobody else picks them up. I'll drop a running back and pick up the defense for the week, and then I'll probably get that running back after the next week if he doesn't blow up. And I just kind of work it that way.
Yeah, one thing about one of the leagues that I'm in, if you just don't get your waiver spot. Traditionally, you have your fake money. So if you waiver for the same person, then your waiver spot doesn't matter. It's who put up the most fake money for
Okay.
him.
That's how my auction league is running its waivers. But every other league is waiver priority.
Interesting. Well, this is my first experience with that, so
Auctions
It's a,
suck, by the way. I screwed myself in my auction league.
yeah.
So we were drafting, and Tyreek Hill was on the block, who's a wide receiver for the Chiefs. Okay?
Okay.
I know that Chiefs running backs are generally pretty awesome in fantasy, regardless of who they are. It's more of a systematic thing. It's the coach. It's Andy Reid. He's the coach.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, people specialize in their stuff.
Right. So, Jamal Charles is gone, and they got, I think Kareem Hunt's a rookie. So they got this rookie running back, and the starting running back went down. Can't remember his name right now. His name escaped me. But the starter goes down, so Kareem Hunt's going to be the backup. He's taking the starting role, and I knew he was going to be good. Well, the wide receiver was up on the auction block, and I had like $17 left or something out of 200, and I was bidding him up. I was just putting up bids to make somebody else pay more for him. But when the entire league noticed that I had bid my last dollar, they all stopped bidding. and made me spend all my money on a guy I didn't even want. And it wasn't even the guy that I thought it was, which is even
Well, that's
worse.
fun then.
So I spent the whole rest of the auction, like 2 hours, unable to bid on anybody. It was horrible.
Well, yeah, I just need to figure out a way to get out of back up from fourth place. I was told I took a lot of risky picks based on people being new or untested.
Okay.
Who are new in positions.
They call those like high ceiling, high upside guys.
Yeah, I was told I took a lot of that, and actually it let me score the shit out of stuff the first 2 weeks. But last week it totally failed me.
I also tend not to put so much stock in what happened last year when it comes to like the beginning of a football season, because there's massive change every year.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
But
there's not.
I will take some of the Dave tips into consideration here.
There's nothing wrong with high upside guys.
Well, this was a fun, nothing important football talk, that fantasy football talk that seems like it's almost a whole complete episode on its own.
Pretty much. I think we just talked for like half an hour.
32 minutes.
Nice. And said nothing of any value and probably wasn't all that entertaining. And that's going to do it for this week 4 edition of the Fantasy Football Introduction Show.
Pre-week 4. Let's just say that. Pre-week 4.
We're 2 days out from the Bears taking on the Packers and what's going to be a fantastic NFC North showdown. My prediction is that the Bears are going to win, because the Bears only seems to win when I think they're not going to.
Well, all right then. Excellent prediction there. Be on the lookout for maybe some more quips and tips from Dave, sputtered into the Nothing Important podcast.
I may
As
just
we get them. It'll probably have a good.
I should randomly, just drop in Dave's. It's like you're talking about Andrew WK, and I'm just like, Blong! And now
Dave's fantasy football tip of the week.
Dave's, or we can predict games. No, Dave's fantasy football tip of the week. Remember, when a guy gets hurt, he doesn't score you any points. John Madden-esque advice.
Play football.
You know, if he's the number 1 wide receiver, he's probably going to be on the field most of the time.
You know, the team that's going to score the most points wins. So you should probably go for the players who are also going to help score those points.
So there's a guy, when he runs, he goes faster.
But I guess if you're also if you decided to pay attention this long, thank you, and check us out.
We get really
important, which you're probably listening to.
We get really drifty when Brian's not around.
Yeah. Pay attention to Nothing Important, which you're probably listening
Brian
to.
was here, it would have ended this 60 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, that's why Brian sucks sometimes. I've got a deep voice and talk a lot. Whoa. There's It's All Good Man, which we all 3 appear on intermittently, for me at least. So check those out if you're watching back episodes. And stay tuned for the next season. It's coming up in quite a long time from now.
Should be a good one.
Should be.
Chuck is dead. Spoiler alert.
What? Yeah, Chuck is dead. Yeah, so if you haven't paid attention, guess what? Chuck dies.
I do have friends that refuse to listen to Nothing Important because they think we're going to spoil Better Call Saul.
Oh, by saying like Chuck dies and Kim gets in a car accident and then quits.
Right.
And stuff
She's
like that.
going to get addicted to pain pills and, yeah.
Well, that's just an accurate prediction.
Ernesto's gone.
And then Brian and I also do a Plumbus Among Us after the Rick and Morty episode for the week. We usually publish later in the week, so you can get a quick catch-up before the new episode comes out. And Dave may join us here on the one of the 2 last episodes. We'll see how that goes. So be sure to do that. Rate it on iTunes, download it, listen to it, hate it, comment, whatever you want to do. We just like listeners. We like comments. Comment on this, because why the hell not? And let Dave know how wrong he is about fantasy football and how wrong I am for not caring that much about fantasy football.
Hell yeah. One more tip. If you have a fantasy football team, please look at it at least once a week. Just look at it. And if you have a guy not playing, take him out. Thank you.
That's a great tip. But otherwise, I guess, Dave, we'll both stop recording.
Be sure to follow Nothing Important online at nothingimportantpodcast.com. Find us on iTunes, on Twitter at NotImportantPC, and you can also find us on Facebook. Nothing Important is recorded with help from Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois. Thanks for being awesome.